I still remember the way my hands shook on my wedding night. Not because I was shy, not because I was scared, but because my new husband, the man I had kept myself for, the man I waited so long to touch, was sitting at the edge of the hotel bed, breathing hard, sweating, and refusing to look at me. "Henry," I whispered, "what is wrong?" He covered his face with both palms. Then he said the words that broke my world into pieces. I can't do it. I have never been able to. I am impotent." I felt my ears buzz. The room turned hot. The bed, the flowers, the lights, everything began to spin around me. My wedding gown suddenly felt like chains. My chest became heavy. I didn't know if I should scream, cry, or laugh because maybe it was a joke. A terrible one. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice shaking. Henry swallowed hard. "I have hidden it from you. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought maybe marriage would fix it, but it didn't." My heart dropped to the floor like a stone. I had waited. I had respected him. I had believed him when he said, "Let's wait until our wedding night. It will be special." I thought he was a gentleman. I thought he loved me enough to wait. But now I knew why he wanted to wait. Not because he was holy. Not because he was patient. But because he was hiding a secret that could destroy a marriage before it even started. I stepped back slowly, my breath breaking. Then Henry said something that made my knees weak. "There's more." And right at that moment, before he could explain, I heard a loud, heavy knock on the hotel room door. Not a soft knock. Not a normal knock. But a knock that sounded like trouble. Everything froze. And that was how my nightmare started. Now let me tell you how I got here. I was not a stubborn girl growing up. I was simple, soft, and always smiling. My grandmother used to say, "Linda, you are too gentle for this world. Men will break your heart like biscuit." She would laugh, and I would laugh too, not knowing that one day her words would come true. I met Henry in the most unexpected way inside a small grocery store. I was reaching for the last jar of peanut butter, and he grabbed it at the same time. Our hands touched. He laughed. I laughed. It felt like a movie scene, the kind girls tell their friends about with dreamy eyes. He had the type of smile that looked like sunshine. Calm, neat, always smelling like mint and fresh soap. He spoke gently, like a man who had never raised his voice at anyone. I liked that. He asked if we could both share the peanut butter jar. I told him that was silly. He said, "Then let me buy it for you." And he did. I should have known then. When a man gives you something sweet too quickly, you must ask what he is hiding. But I was young, in love, and blind. We started dating. At first, everything was perfect. He was kind, soft-spoken, hardworking, and always arriving at my house with small gifts, cookies, flowers, books, anything he thought would make me smile. But there was one thing he never tried. Touching me. Every time I tried to hug him a little longer, he would step back like a shy schoolboy. Every time I leaned my head on his shoulder, he would stiffen like a statue. Any time I joked and said, "Kiss me properly now," he would laugh and say, "Let's wait, let's do things the right way." At first, I liked it. Most men I had met before acted like they were on fire, but Henry acted like he had been dipped inside ice water. I thought it was cute. I thought it meant he respected me. I even bragged to my friends. "My Henry is different. He's a good man, not like all those other ones." Little did I know. Sometimes, when a man behaves too perfect, there is a secret following him like a shadow. Things continued that way for months. Then one day he knelt down in front of me and asked me to marry him. I screamed, cried, and hugged him. That night, I danced in my room like I had won the lottery. But the signs were there. He never changed his rule. No touching, no intimacy, not even small. Whenever I asked why, he always said the same sentence. "It will be special on our wedding night." And like a fool, I believed him. The wedding came fast. My grandmother danced more than everyone. My dress looked like a cloud. My heart was bouncing inside my chest like a baby goat. Everyone said we were the perfect couple. But weddings end. And after the cake, the dancing, the pictures, and the blessings, reality begins. We reached the hotel room. That was when my dream turned into smoke. Henry froze. His hands trembled. His face turned pale. He couldn't even look at me. Then he confessed. And my world broke. But the night was far from over. Right after he said, "There's more." Right after I felt my heart stop for the second time. Right after I opened my mouth to ask what he meant. That was when someone bang bang banged on our door like they wanted to break it down. Henry's face went white. Mine went cold. We both stared at the door, unable to move. Who could be knocking on our wedding night at that hour? A hotel worker. A mistake. Or someone Henry didn't want me to meet. The knocking grew louder. Then a voice shouted from behind the door. "Open this door right now, Henry. I know you're in there." And the way Henry's back straightened. The way his hand shook. The way he whispered, "Oh no, not tonight." The knocking didn't stop. It grew louder, harder, almost angry. "Henry, open this door right now," the voice shouted again. I could feel my heart jumping inside my chest like it wanted to escape. I looked at Henry, but he looked like someone who had just seen a ghost. His face was pale, his lips trembling, and sweat was sliding down the side of his face. "Henry, who is that?" I whispered. He didn't answer. He only pressed his finger against his lips and whispered back, "Don't make a sound." But the person outside already knew we were inside. "Henry, I saw you come in with her. Open this door before I break it." Before I break it, on my wedding night. What kind of human being threatens a married couple on their first night? Henry looked at the door, then at me, then back at the door. He looked like he was choosing between two nightmares. The knocking stopped suddenly. The silence was worse. Then, a keycard slid into the door lock. My heart almost jumped out of my throat. Henry gasped. No, 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 how does she have a keycard? Who gave her? Beep. The door unlocked. Henry ran to the door and pushed it shut with his entire body, breathing hard. The person on the other side pushed too, trying to force it open. "Henry, you can't hide from me forever," the voice screamed. Forever? Hide? On my wedding night. My legs felt weak. "Who is she?" I asked again, louder this time. Henry didn't answer. He just pressed his forehead against the door and whispered, "Please go away, please, not tonight." But the woman outside didn't stop. "You think marrying her will solve anything? You think you can run from me? Open this door." Run from her? Marrying me to solve what? Fear crawled up my spine like a snake. The struggle at the door lasted for almost a minute before the woman shouted, "Fine, stay inside, but I'll be waiting right here till you open." Then silence. Henry slowly stepped away from the door, shaking all over. I stood there, breathing fast, trying to understand anything at all. Finally, I spoke. "Henry, who was that woman, and why does she have a key to our room?" He sat down on the bed and covered his face again. "She's someone from my past," he said quietly. "Someone who shouldn't be here." I crossed my arms. "What kind of past? Are you cheating on me? Is she your ex-girlfriend?" He shook his head quickly. "No, no, it's not that." "Then what?" I snapped. "Why is she banging on the door like she owns you?" He looked at me, eyes full of fear. "Because she thinks she does." My breath caught. This was not part of the fairy tale marriage I imagined. Now let me take you back, far before this wedding, far before the secret, far before the angry woman at the door too, when I first started seeing small signs that Henry wasn't the man I thought. Signs I ignored. Signs I laughed away. Signs that should have told me something was wrong. It all began 3 months before the wedding. We were at a restaurant eating pizza. I was talking about how excited I was about marriage, the dress, the dacre, the dancing. Henry nodded, smiling, pretending to listen. Then suddenly his phone buzzed. When he looked at the screen, the smile vanished. His body stiffened. His hands shook a little. He swallowed hard. "Who is it?" I asked casually, thinking it was work. N01, he said, turning the phone face down. For the first time, I felt something strange. Henry never hid his phone from me. He was the type who would give his phone to a stranger to take a picture without caring. But that day, he acted like the phone carried a nuclear bomb. 2 minutes later, it buzzed again. This time, he grabbed it so fast it almost fell from his hand. He checked it, and the color drained from his face. Henry, who is messaging you like that? I asked. He cleared his throat. Just someone from the past. He always used the phrase, someone from the past. Someone I would later learn meant danger. Before I could ask more, the restaurant lights went off suddenly. Everyone screamed. I jumped. Someone laughed behind me, saying it was just a small blackout. But while everyone was distracted, Henry slipped his phone into his pocket like he didn't want any eyes on it. That was the first sign. The second sign came a week later, when we were choosing our wedding rings. Henry's phone buzzed again. He stepped away from me and answered it in a whispered voice. I pretended to look at rings, but I listened. I told you to stop calling, he said. I'm engaged. You can't just show up. You can't. No, please don't threaten me again. Please don't do that. Threaten. Threaten. Who was threatening him? When he came back, he looked as pale as chalk. I wanted to ask, but he kissed my forehead and said, "Let's just pick the rings quickly and go home. I'm tired." And like a fool, I let it go. Then came the third sign, one I should never have ignored. We were sitting together watching a movie when he suddenly got up, went to the window, and closed all the curtains like he was hiding from a sniper. I laughed. "Henry, what are you doing?" He didn't laugh. He didn't smile. He just whispered, "Sometimes people watch when you're not looking." Who were these people? Why were they watching? And why did Henry look like a hunted man? But I loved him. And love makes people blind. Blindness that later cost me peace. Back in the hotel room on our wedding night, I stared at Henry, my chest tight with fear, pain, and anger. "So," I said softly, "you were hiding two things from me, your condition and this woman." Henry took a deep breath. "I didn't want to lose you. I thought I could fix everything before the wedding. I thought she would go away." "And now she's outside our door," I said, my voice breaking. He nodded slowly. Then he whispered something that made my heart jump. "She's not just anyone. She's the reason I kept the secret from you. She's the reason I couldn't tell you the truth. She ruined everything in my life once, and now she's trying to ruin it again." I felt cold. "Henry," I said, "who is she?" Henry looked at me with eyes that seemed to beg for forgiveness. "She is." But before he could finish his sentence, a loud crash came from outside the door. Like someone threw something heavy against it. I jumped. Henry jumped. The lights in the room flickered. Then the woman yelled, "If you don't open this door in the next minute, I will call the police. And trust me, Henry, you don't want that." Police. On my wedding night. Henry grabbed his head with both hands and groaned. Oh no, not again, not this time." I stepped back, scared. "What does she mean by again? Henry, what did you do before I met you?" He looked at me, eyes filled with guilt. "There is something you need to know about my past. Something big, something dangerous." My heart thumped. "What?" I whispered. He opened his mouth. But before he could speak, the door handle twisted violently. The woman screamed, "Henry, this is your last warning." And that was when I realized I wasn't only dealing with a secret. I was dealing with a storm. The door handle twisted again. Harder. Faster. Like someone who had lost all patience. Henry backed away from the door, his hands shaking so badly it looked like he was holding invisible ice. "Henry," the woman shouted, "I'm counting down from 5. Open this door or I swear I'll bring back everything you thought you escaped." Everything he escaped. My stomach tightened. "Henry," I whispered, "you must tell me the truth now." He swallowed hard. Linda, I didn't only hide my condition from you, I hid my past, a past I thought was gone. The knocking stopped again. Silence. Then the voice returned, lower this time but sharper. 5, 4. Henry panicked. I have to tell you fast, he said. Everything before she ruins us both. 3. Henry, talk, I cried. Who is she? He closed his eyes. She is my ex-fiancée, Rebecca. 2. I blinked. Ex-fiancée, you told me you never had a serious relationship before me. I lied, he whispered, because that relationship almost destroyed my life. 1. Before she reached 0, Henry grabbed my hands. Linda, please listen. Rebecca and I were engaged 3 years ago. We were planning to get married. But she was not stable. She controlled everything I did. She checked my phone. She followed me to work. She accused me of cheating even when I only talked to female customers. I frowned. So you left her? He nodded quickly. Yes, I ran away a week before the wedding. I couldn't continue. She threatened me. She said she would make sure no woman ever loved me again. She promised to curse my manhood. I gasped. Your manhood? He nodded slowly. That was when everything changed, Henry continued. After I left her, I became different, weak, unable to be with anyone again. I thought it was her words. I thought it was stress. I thought it would go away. My heart sank slowly as I realized the truth. So you didn't tell me, I whispered. I was scared you would leave too, he said. You were the only woman who made me feel peace again, the only woman who didn't push me, the only woman who didn't judge me. I wanted to be better for you, but the fear. He paused. The fear controlled me. My anger softened, just a little, enough to listen. But the woman outside wasn't done. 0 came. Bang. 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 She started kicking the door. The police will be here in 3 minutes, she yelled. Open the door, Henry. You think you can run from me again. Henry grabbed his hair. Oh no, she really called them. She always does this. She did it during our first engagement too. I stared at him. You mean she filed a police report? Yes, he whispered loudly. She always lies. She always twists everything. Linda, please, you have to trust me. I took a step back. Henry, I don't even know what to believe anymore. He reached for my hand, but I stepped further away. You kept too many secrets, I said. Your condition, your past, this crazy woman, you didn't give me the truth. You gave me a dream that isn't real. He fell on his knees and held his chest. Linda, please, I love you. I didn't want my darkness to touch you. But at that exact moment, another heavy bang came from the hallway. This time it wasn't the woman. It was a man's voice. Open up, police. My whole body froze. My wedding night was turning into a nightmare movie. Linda, Henry whispered, panicking. Please don't let them believe her, please. The knocking continued. Police, open the door. I looked at Henry. He looked broken, shaking, sweating, desperate. And strangely, I remembered something my grandmother used to say. When a person is truly wicked, you will see it in their eyes. When a person is truly hurting, you will see it in their tears. Henry's tears were real. I finally understood. He wasn't a liar because he wanted to deceive me. He was a liar because he was afraid. He didn't hide his impotence from me to trick me. He hid it because he felt ashamed. And Rebecca, she was not a woman in love. She was a storm that had followed him for years. The banging on the door grew louder. Open now or we break it down, the police shouted. Henry looked at me with pleading eyes. Please, Linda, don't let them ruin us. I took a deep breath, walked to the door, and opened it. 2 police officers stood there. Behind them, Rebecca looked wild, her hair messy, eyes red, shirt twisted like she ran there in anger. Thank God you're here, Rebecca said dramatically. He kidnapped me years ago. He threatened me. No, I said calmly, stepping between her and Henry. "Officer, she's lying." Rebecca blinked. "What?" I stood tall, even though my heart was shaking. "This is my wedding night," I said. "He is my husband. She is harassing him. She followed us. She threatened him. She has been stalking him for years." Henry gasped softly. One of the officers turned to Rebecca. "Ma'am, is this true?" Rebecca started screaming. "No, she's lying. He belongs to me. He left me. He can't marry anyone else. He—" But before she finished her sentence, the officer grabbed her arm. "Ma'am, calm down." She struggled wildly. "He's mine. You can't take him. You can't." The officers gently pulled her aside. "Ma'am, you're disturbing the peace. You're coming with us." "No, no, no," she screamed as they dragged her away. Her voice echoed down the hallway. When the door finally closed again, the room fell quiet. Henry collapsed on the floor and broke into tears. And I knelt down beside him. Not as a weak woman, not as a blind lover, but as a wife who finally understood his wounds. "Henry," I whispered, "your past doesn't control me, and your condition doesn't define you. What matters is the truth. From now on, no more hiding." He nodded, crying, "No more hiding." We sat together on the wedding night floor, holding each other like two people who survived a storm. It wasn't the wedding night I dreamed of. It wasn't the fairy tale I planned. But life is not always smooth. Sometimes the sweetest love story is the one that learns to grow through pain. The next morning, we both agreed to see a doctor. Not because I wanted a perfect man, but because we wanted a perfect truth. And that was how our real marriage began. Not with fireworks, but with honesty. Life lesson. Love is not only about romance, shining lights, or perfect moments. Love is about truth. If there is no honesty, there is no peace. Secrets weaken a home faster than any curse. And sometimes, healing begins when we stop running and start talking. Thanks for watching. Kindly drop your comment about this video. And please subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories.